if you've been here for a little while, then you know last year I planted really late in middle of June because it was so cold and my garden was totally overtaken by weeds. But I did a lot of prep this fall or last fall, and so the garden was pretty easy to weed this year, and it's been really warm. It's actually been pretty hot. And so I've gotten all of my plants about a month and a half early, and I am ready to plant. And I got a lot of flowers this year because I am really wanting to make this into a fairy garden. It's pretty much almost already a fairy garden, but last year was my first year managing the garden all on my own. Before it was kind of a family business, and so I learned a lot last year, and so I am ready to go to town this year. I'm also doing a bunch of other fun fairy flower things, so let's take a little bit of a walk. So we're in the enchanted forest, and I am working right now on clearing it all out, which is the vlog that you would have seen before this. And so there's my stone circle, and I am going to plant a fairy ring of white alyssum around the stone circle. I've already transplanted a bunch of wild bleeding hearts back here. There are also a lot of foxgloves back here, and then more of those wild bleeding hearts that I planted. So the fairy ring is going to go all the way around the ring, and I am so excited. So I've been working to clear this whole area of the salmon berries and dead wood, and once it's all cleared up, I'm going to be planting an herbal forest. So I'm planting yarrow, mint, rosemary, and sage, and just whatever else I can get. I'm also wanting to put some bleeding hearts back here, the wild ones. And so that's what this is going to be. I'm making this secret garden into an herbal forest. I think I'm honestly most excited for these snapdragons. They are one of my favorites. And I also have this really beautiful hydrangea, the deer ate. And so I'm gonna put that right here so that it has this whole space to grow. I totally forgot that I got hollyhocks. I've never had a purple one, and it's already starting to flower. My goal here is to plant alyssum all around the ring, the stone circle, and create a fairy ring. And I am so excited. I think it's going to be beautiful, and I want to stick with white alyssum as much as possible. There are a few purple here or there, but alyssum can grow quite wide, and so I'm going to space it out, and hopefully over the next few weeks it starts to fill in, and I think it's going to look so beautiful. And I'm hoping with the timing of my planting, it will start to really fill in as the foxgloves are starting to bloom. Look at all these little Winnie hairs on this fern. It's so cute. Okay. So the next things on the list are I need to clean this path. There's just weeds and leaves and all of that jazz. And then I'm going to be transplanting a bunch of foxgloves back here. I have a ton of foxgloves in my garden that I need to move and a couple around the yard, and I'm going to put them in the forest here. This garden bed has, I think, almost 20 foxgloves. This one is so healthy. I can't wait to see that one. And then there's this one here. I think I'm gonna move that one and then move a couple. I'm gonna move most of these actually, because I think a lot of these aren't gonna come up this year. Also, le hose burst last night. So I went to town today and got a new hose, and I also got a ton of new flowers because I could not resist. I got a bunch of dahlias and snapdragons and so many beautiful things. Look at how beautiful these are. Oh my god. Columbines are just one of my most favorite flowers. I think the anatomy of them is amazing, and I feel like fairies literally live inside of them. So over here, my lupins are starting to come up. I'm so excited for those. So I did realize that a couple of my garden beds are really, really low. Look at this one. It's literally flush with the path, and I just didn't realize. So I need to pull some dirt from other areas of the yard and bring that in here before I plant. I think I'm gonna plant cabbage in there, and things are happening in the herbal forest, but it is a lot of work. It's actually way more work than I was thinking when I started that. So I'm actually gonna make a separate video for the herbal forest and just focus on the stone circle and this fairy garden in here in this video. It is the end of the day. I'm about to go inside. So I've built up these garden beds and I've planted all of my squashes, and I'm realizing that maybe I have too many squashes for the amount of space that I have, but I'll figure it out. Then tomorrow will be the seeds that I have and a few other plants that I have. I just found a dead beetle. I can add it to my collection. As the seasons began to shift from spring to summer, lots of my flowers began to bloom, and I could fill my home with bouquets, which to me is always a marker of the sun's growing strength and the longer days. With the roses, they're growing all on the outside of the garden. I'm trying to weave them in between the fence so that they'll cover the fencing, but we have some growing outside of the fence and I've just woven it in with the birch branch because I think it would be really pretty if the roses grew right here and then hung down. I've got some buds, and so I think that would be really cool, and hopefully the deer don't eat it. One of my favorite parts of the lighter months is all the animals that come to visit me in the garden. Some visitors I naturally cross paths with, and others are little gifts from Winnie. My lupins are about to bloom. My lupin just bloomed. I literally just saw it. It's right here. And all of my little beans are popping up. And my peas are shooting up. In the spring and summer months when I'm doing so many yard projects, I really love to take time to move slowly, taking my time moving from one project to the next, soaking up the changes in nature and all of the work that I'm doing and all of the animals that are crossing my paths. I really feel that adding special detail to a fairy garden makes it so magical, so I took my time getting creative and sprinkling magic along the way. And then, with the end of June, my garden was ready for the fairies. You coming? One of my new favorite additions to the garden is this mallow tree. I think it's a type of hollyhock, and it is so, so beautiful. This foxglove is so, so beautiful. It is so lush and so big. Oh my god, have you ever seen a more beautiful creature? I've got a lily peeking out in the back here under the roses. So let's go check out the fairy ring because it's not exactly what I expected. My salmonberry arch is coming together. So, the fairy ring is growing, but the bunnies keep eating all of the white flowers off the alyssum, so there is no... So it doesn't look like alyssum. There are no flowers. Like, I was expecting this to be a white ring around the stone circle, but that is not what happened. These are foxgloves that I've put back here. They're doing pretty good. So that didn't work out the way that I was hoping it to, and it's kind of sad. I just had this really magical vision in my head, and it didn't come true. But I just feel like I'm just kind of done with this at this point, so I'm not sure if I'm going to try and keep that up or not, or just try a different plant next year. Before I go, I want to give you a gnome update because I love collecting gnomes, and I have 3 more that I've gotten this year, and 2 of those are 2 more family heirlooms. Last year I received my first family heirloom gnome, and that is Gnome, and so I have 2 more this year, and I have not named them yet, but I really love the idea of naming them because I think gnomes are so mysterious, and I love that. I'm actually addicted to that. So let me show you my 2 new ancestral gnomes and my 1 new garden gnome. So this is, well, I mean, it is a gnome, but it isn't a gnome. It's a frog, and I love frogs. I had a frog growing up as a pet. His name was Elvis. So I don't know, maybe I named this guy Elvis just for the heck of it. It's actually a sprinkler, so I think that would be really cool to hook up. And this is the other new one. It's very similar to Gnome. It's a little bit different. They kind of look like brothers. And this little sunflower guy here is the new one that I got from the dollar store this year. I think it's so cute. So thank you so much for coming on this fairy garden journey with me. It really has been a journey. This is my 2nd year doing the garden all on my own, and I am still learning a lot. There are still things that I'm gonna move around because I can see that they would probably thrive in a different part of the garden. So I am learning a lot. And so again, if you have tips for me, please do let me know. I would love to hear them. I am starting to learn more about soil nutrients, and so I feel like that is something that I really need to step up because I think that my vegetables would do a lot better if I knew more about soil nutrients. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next garden transformation video, which is coming up. I'm really, really excited to show you that. It is totally and completely different than this garden. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.